Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of Feed the Beast. It's Direwolf20 on the Primus server. You see the rolling machine, and you know what that means? It is time to make a boiler. Before we do that, I want to make a couple of things. I want to first make a quarry. We'll see if I can remember how to do this without looking up the recipe. Yep, there we go. Achievement get. I also want to make a couple of augments for the dynamo, and these increase fuel efficiency. This will mainly be for this one for the time being. I guess I only really need to make two. I was going to make two of each of these. I don't know how these affect a steam dynamo on a boiler. So I was playing around with the transmission coils as well. If we made all three of these and one of these, it doesn't use much more fuel and it doubles the energy output, but we need the cryothium for this one. So let's just make two of these for now. Well, one of each, I guess. And then actually we'll just make all of them, and then when we put the dynamo, what am I missing? Lead. When we put the dynamo on the boiler, we'll put them in there just to see if it makes a difference. It might use less steam, so we're going to make a low pressure boiler. We need iron plates for that. I think we need 72 of them. Normally on a low pressure boiler you could get 9 dynamos. If we use the efficiency upgrades, maybe we could get a few more out of it. We'll have to try that out. I haven't used a boiler in 1.7, so I'm not really sure how these will affect it. So we'll put the first two in here. Of course, I'm already out of fuel in there. I've just been adding it as I need it, and I do still need it. So this isn't going to increase power output, but it will cause the fuel to burn at a slower rate. So let's go ahead and we'll make all of these, and then we need 8 more. And apparently this is not nearly enough power to run this thing, so not a big deal. I'm going to let it run. I'm going to need to do a couple other things. We need to make a couple of tesseracts, and we also need to make the upgrades for the item conduit. I thought I had the recipe down. I guess not. Oh, it's electrical steel. That's my bad. So I'm going to have to make a couple of electrical steel as well. Probably about 12 of them. I just want I want this to be a little faster. I want to run the quarry at the new place to take out a couple of chunks. Let me show you what I've done. I'm basically just quarrying out every chunk where a room is going to be, because I don't know if I'm going to make them multiple levels or not. I've already turtled out these two, and the turtle just takes too long. So I wanted to quarry the other 3, and then after that I'm only going to use an ender quarry because it doesn't leave big holes in the world, and I can just run it anywhere. I mean, obviously it would be better where there's grass. I won't run it in the desert. I guess we could just spread grass everywhere. That actually may not be a bad idea. We'll get a lot of sand out of it. So we could just run the ender quarry wherever we want. I made a couple of sprinklers for this thing just to see if it speeds up tree growth any. I think it does. I can't really tell. It seems like these have been nerfed. They used to be I think 5 blocks wide, and now it looks like they're only 3. But the length is still the same. So that's kind of a bummer, but I figured I'd put one on each corner, kind of send one this direction, and then one that direction, and then this one will go this way, and then this one will go this way. Maybe an aqueous accumulator in the middle. I don't know. We'll give it a try. Alright, so I should probably just load this thing up with charcoal, since we're going to need it. I think I do have some coal powder. I'm going to need some of this, and I think I'm going to have to make some silicon. I thought I saw a couple of them earlier, but I, of course, don't know what I did with them. So how we get silicon, the best way, in my opinion, is to sag mill clay. And the good thing about that is, if we put some of this in here, we're actually going to get clay balls back. So you can kind of recycle the clay. And you don't always get 4. I'm going to let those go through because we're going to need bricks for the fireboxes anyway. But ordinarily, I wouldn't send the clay balls through the alloy smelter. I would recraft them into the block and send them back through the sag mill. But like I said, we are going to need a few of these, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. So we'll let these guys finish. Probably won't take that long. I'm going to need to make the 3 upgrades, and then I'll go ahead and I'll make the fireboxes. We're going to use the solid fueled, so I'll have to make, well, I think I get 3 fire charges per craft. I'll need 9 of these total, 9 furnaces, and 63 bricks. So let me do these things and I'll be right back and we'll set this thing up. We are going to have to reroute the stuff over at the tree farm, but it shouldn't be an issue. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, welcome back. I think I've gotten everything that we're going to need. I hope. We'll find out. I probably don't. So the reason I wanted to make the upgrades was because I'm going to put the ender chest on the quarry. I'll use the tesseracts for power. It's going to be slow. I mean, I'm going to start it off with like 1 dynamo and what's that, like 8 MJ. Very low power. And then I'll add a few. It'll take us a while to probably generate steam anyway. But I want this thing to be able to keep up. And I've got 3 outputs right now. But I figure we can just go ahead and throw some upgrades in here. And let's see how fast it is. Probably fast enough to keep up with a low-powered quarry. So let's go set this up. These iron plates we need to craft. I think they just go like that. Yep. And if you hover over, it'll tell you the multi-block dimensions. We're going to make it 3. It says 3 by 4 by 3. I say 3 by 3 by 4. And then plus the firebox. I did forget to make an aqueous accumulator. However, we'll just pick up these. My magnet ring will kick in. And I have water buckets. Okay. And I'll probably start building pretty soon. I'm still thinking about some things. I found a bunch of abyssal. You can see on the map over here. Of course, it's underneath the ocean. I was just following a mine shaft. I ended up over there, so I got a bunch of that. I've gotten a fair amount of marble and quarried stone. And you know I love the abyssal and the quarried stone. So I don't want to use the same aqueous accumulator for the tree farm, though if we're going to take this away, probably won't be an issue. But I figured I'd just bring another one and just nip it right in the bud and use our own, or dedicate one to it. So I think this has to be too tall at least. Now it is multi-block. It'll take any solid fuel. I think you may be able to put lava buckets in. I don't remember if you can still do that. I haven't used these in a while. But we're going to go ahead and make the biggest one. I'm not sure if we'll make enough charcoal. We'll see. I figure if it doesn't work, no big deal. It's worth a shot. But if you're going to make one of these, you might as well swing for the fences, because you don't want to have to upgrade it. Then you lose all your steam and heat and stuff. If I had found a firestone ore, that would have been ideal, but I haven't seen one in the nether. So that is not a thing for us. So I want to go ahead and take all of that out, and we'll do it like this. And we'll redecorate later. So our aqueous accumulator will feed straight into this thing. Let's refill a couple of water buckets just because. And then we'll put this guy right here. We should be getting water. One aqueous accumulator may or may not be enough. We'll see. You can see it holds 144 buckets of water. So, and look at that, it works. We got steam. So what we're going to have to do, I know this thing used to take an input from a chest that was next to it. I'm not sure if it still does. We're going to have to find out. We can actually put these where they go. And we'll put these back in the overflow chest. So let's test that out. Where did that... I guess I got rid of the chest, didn't I? There we go. We'll test this out and see if it takes it from the chest next to it. Yeah. Takes it pretty fast. So this is how I'm actually going to get the charcoal into the boiler. We're not going to pipe it in. What I'll do is I'm going to put the deep storage unit probably right here, and then just use one of the conduits to move it in there. I think that'll be the easiest way to do it. So we're going to need to turn this off. We can probably go ahead and just pick this guy up. And I didn't show this, but I did put some apatite and dirt up here, or fertilizer rather, just to kind of keep the thing full. So we're going to need to reroute this a little bit. Let me make sure everything is out. We still want the charcoal to come out that same side, but instead let's see how to do this. I wonder if I can just dump some stuff in here. Alright. At this point I should probably do it all with item conduits. And I guess we're still harvesting things. I didn't know it was still working. So we can actually lose this pipe. This is not going very well for me right now. This is a madhouse. Let's put some of this stuff away. Alright, we better? Okay. So what we'll do now is we'll move the gearbox to this side over here. Just right next to the water. We'll leave the hatch where it goes. I guess we could just reconfigure this whole thing while we're at it, huh? So the power is going to come from a dynamo. We'll just put it right there, and a wood pipe should be enough. I don't know why it does that. I guess I have 2 dynamos, huh? I don't like that. That's not supposed to happen. So we will move this down 1. We'll put our wooden pipe there and our iron pipe there. And then I probably have to replace my wooden pipe. Yep, okay. So that should work for that once we get some steam, actually. So we're going to spit out of here. Let's move a torch. Let's see, we're going to have this guy connected to this stuff. I guess we could just run it straight like that instead. I don't like that I can't see it until a block update. So he's going to need power. Let's do that. We'll move our diamond pipe to this side. We're going to input on the right. And let's output on the back. No, we can't output on the back. We'll output on the bottom. And yellow will be logs. Everything else will be excluded. Put another gold pipe. Do a block update so we can see it. And then I think we will... See, we're going to send all the charcoal that way. So we'll put a diamond pipe here. We'll pick up this guy. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll send the charcoal down and over to here. And since I do have my dolly, we can take these diamond pipes. This is going to be a diamond pipe fiasco. We'll put this barrel right there. And we'll run them like that. And then we'll set the rule for these. And then we'll just put the chest right there. Okay, so little more of a rat's nest. So this isn't going to actually power the thing until we get this thing heated up to a suitable temperature. So we'll go ahead and pump some charcoal into this guy. And you can use multiple sources, but we're just going to do the one. Alright guys, we've got steam. Maybe this one is 500 and the steel is 1,000. Either way, we've got some steam. It occurred to me, I had a couple of extra pipes. I went ahead and hooked this thing up, and it looks like a little bit of steam came out. But what we can do is kill this guy. I don't think they retain their energy. Maybe they do energy, maybe not steam. But we can go ahead and put both of these guys on here. And we're filling up with steam straight from the boiler. You can use the fluid conduits if you want, but they have a bottleneck. So I normally just put my dynamos straight on the boiler. And if we put a pipe there and a pipe here, we can run both of them. They both have steam. This is the one with the augments. We'll see if it even makes a difference. I don't know if it will, but this thing uses a relatively small amount of power. This guy uses 20 RF. So we've got 60 left over to run the quarry. It's going to be slow, not going to lie. I forgot to make landmarks. Let's get some lapis. I think it's this one. Yep. So we'll set up this quarry and then I will end the episode. Alright, let's come over here. And I think I'll probably just quarry out the whole chunk. Or at least what's inside the gravel here. So those corners will go away. Not really that big of a deal. So I think actually let's do it just outside. So we get the whole chunk quarried out, and then I'll doctor it up. So we'll whack that. Pop our quarry down. We'll put our ender chest right on top of it. Let's get the landmarks. I mean, we have a ton of lapis. It's not really that big of a deal, but I like to keep them. No sense wasting them. We can probably get rid of that now. And now we'll do our tesseracts. So we'll just throw one right here. No, I don't want it there. We'll put it right there. And we could take some of Brink's power. We don't even need to use our own. So we're not going to do anything with items or fluids. We are going to send energy. I'm going to go channel 99. And then we'll receive on the other end, obviously. And let's make sure we get this thing inside the loaded chunk. AB power set. And we're receiving energy. Again, just to reiterate, it's going to be very slow. Hopefully it doesn't take out the greatwood tree. It doesn't look like it will. I wanted to save that just because. So this tesseract is only going to send energy, or actually receive energy, and all the items will go in the ender chest, which will suck them out. Everything will get put in barrels if it can. I hooked up the redstone, coal, and lapis, and just like when we turtled in the last episode, the cobble, sand, dirt, and gravel will fill up the barrels, and once the barrels are full, they will go to the trash can to get deleted. Everything else will end up in what is now a gold chest, and we'll just end up with all the goodies. This is probably actually about the same speed as a turtle, maybe a little faster. Uh-oh. Nope, it's not as fast. So this will be slow. I'll make a few more steam dynamos and throw them down there. This will survive a server restart though. So that's good. The turtles, they stop. Yeah, we have plenty of steam for now. So I'll make a few more steam dynamos. Probably we'll put another one here. I'll make 4 more. Put them on the top row and then one right here in the corner. And it'll speed it up a little bit, but it's going to be pretty slow for a while. So once we get some more dynamos made, this will be a fairly significant source of power. We'll get 80 per dynamo. I don't know why it's only outputting 20. Maybe that has something to do with it. Probably does. Oh yeah, much better. Anyway, this will be a pretty significant source of power. We get 9 dynamos and 80 RF apiece, so that's about 720, which isn't bad. As long as we can keep up the charcoal production. There are many different ways to power that solid fuel boiler. I'm not going to get into those ways. If we need to, we'll think about them, but for now, we're just going to do it like that. So that'll do it for this episode, guys. As always, please leave me any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.